B, how's it been with my niece since she's been at home from school? How's e-learning been treating you?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't even follow up. I just hope she's learning all the things that she's learning, and she's reading. She knows to read, so I hope she's reading her curriculum accordingly and teaching herself independent study units.
ISUs. We all had to do them. You just have to do them a lot younger now. That's all. But she's a smart cookie.
Yeah, she'll get her done.
She'll get through.
Her grades were immaculate.
She'll get off a roadblocks.
Yeah, you hope.
I got that dish. I got that. I got that dish. 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 I got that dish. I got that dish. That dish.
Hey y'all, it's Onika.
And it's your girl B.
And you are dishing with Dainty Dish. How you doing today, B?
I'm here. You know, it's been a rough one.
It's been a crazy week, guys, in the life of the Dainty family. I won't get too much into it. Just needless to say, we've had 2 deaths in the past week. None of them were COVID related. These were family members that had long-term illnesses. And they've gone, hopefully to heaven. I think so. They were both very good people, very loving people. And I wanted to mention this to the listeners because, people are dying.
Yeah,
it's crazy what's been going on.
Whether it be COVID
or other illnesses, that still exists outside of COVID. People are dying, and people are not able to say their goodbyes and go to funerals. Like, I had to watch a virtual funeral of someone that I loved so dearly, and
it's just not the same.
It's just not the same. Like, I sang some "Eye on the Sparrow," and I shed some tears, and I said my goodbyes because that shit, like that virtual online streaming funeral stuff, that's like a childhood freak out for me. Because you remember back in the day when you used to bring the tapes from Guyana when Sister Iris died and the tape from Guyana came and everyone came in the house there playing that shit on a loop. I'm like, no, I can't do this. So I spent like 10 minutes. I went to have a cigarette. I said my goodbyes. I said a prayer, and that was it. So, but I think what really, what I think these 2 deaths have really taught me, other than, life is short and we're in a situation right now where people are dying for reasons and no good reasons, and, the climate and everything, lives are being lost. And for those of you out there that have mental health issues that listen to the show, if you've lost a loved one, I've recently just been through this, and I remember the last loved one I lost my shit. Like, I lost my mind, and I've grown so much at this point in my self-awareness and as a human being through copious amounts of therapy, copious amounts of family and friend supports. Ellie's on the mic today.
Yep.
I forgot to say that. Don't worry, we'll get to Ellie. Yeah. So, I've had copious amounts of supports in my life over the last 3 years that it really was one of those, life is finite and these people have passed, and I love them very much and I respect who they were and all they did to change my life, and and I kind of moved on, and that was very different and refreshing for me that I didn't go back into mania, because I've been up and down lately, as you well know, B. I've been up and down, lots of changes going on in my life. I won't share it with you until it's happening, just I don't want to jinx it, but lots of changes, lots of upheaval, it feels like. So I've been really, epiphanies and ideas. Like, the mania hit me hard a couple weeks ago when we were at the cottage. I think I mentioned it on the last episode, but I'm past that stage right now. I'm back to quote unquote normal, which who's normal really? But
what is normal?
What is
no
normal?
one is normal.
What is normal? Yeah, but I just I'm glad that I was able to handle it this time. That's all. I'm like, thank God I was able to handle it. So.
Growth. It's a beautiful thing.
It's growth. It's growth. But Allie, how are you doing today? You are on the mic with us today.
On the mic. It's been a while. I'm good. I'm just getting through doing my schooling and my internship, and it's all online. Like, we're kind of gonna leave. So that's been a kind of interesting experience figuring that out. And
tell the people the truth. It sucks.
It sucks. It's not good. It's really not good.
Who likes to be 100% responsible for their education?
Like, nobody.
Not me.
I don't want to
nobody
be in front of a computer and
and teach myself.
Teach myself essentially, and
If
maybe
people-
have the teacher check in
Yeah.
on a video chat
If they care.
If they care. Just a
No,
lot of
but
them
remember
don't
when
really.
remember when we were kids and it was like, okay, grandma was responsible for getting us from like the house to the bus. And then then the bus driver responsible for getting us from the bus to the school. Then the school hallway monitors were responsible for getting us in class. Like we were herded.
Yeah.
Now they have to do it on their own? Like with just their
please.
parents?
Please. And
Like-
half of us, i.e. me, don't remember half of the things we learned when we were 6 and 7 and 8 years old. So we're riding the boat with them right now. So if they fail, it is a little bit. We fail.
We fail.
So, yeah,
Not
fail.
we as Chinese. I'm single and unencumbered. So
Yeah, but I won't fail. But I'm just saying for the, if they do, I'll know it was me and not them.
it was not them.
Yeah. So,
It was not them, but
but it was really y'all.
it was y'all.
Y'all
The
put me in this
government.
situation,
The government.
and I did what I had to.
And that is
could.
what we are talking about today. Back to school. Back to school. Back to school. To
I
prove
can't remember
that
the
dad
Kmart
that I'm no
commercial. I wish I
fool. I
did.
got my shoes tied up. My bag tied tight. I hope I won't get in a fight.
Oh.
Billy Madison.
Oh.
Yeah.
Don't
it
know
was
that one.
That
Adam
went over my
Sandler.
head. I think
Yeah,
that's
That,
Yeah,
I'm
you
old.
are
I'm
that
old. I'm
one.
37. You look up the Back to School song by Billy Madison.
I was thinking of the
have to check
Kmart
that.
Adam
song
Sandler.
potentially.
No,
like-
I'm telling you. It had to be the Adam Sandler song. But today's going to be a bunch of newsflash is.
Way to put that in there. Way to
I
just subtly.
had to just
is.
correct grammar. It's going to be a bunch of news flashes because I did my research on this back to school situation that's going on in Canada, the United States, and all around the world, really. And
Nobody knows what
nobody
the fuck they're
knows
doing.
what they're doing.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry,
But it's
Mom.
true.
Sorry, Mom. We had to drop an F-bomb. We're going to drop a couple of them today. Because, what the fuck? I don't understand. I'm so grateful that I'm not in school.
Listen, I wish people just would admit they're human and we all make mistakes and we're not all super smart, so we could just get through this together. Because at this point, y'all look like idiots.
Or at least admit that y'all don't know
what you're doing.
The fuck you're doing.
Exactly. Just
None of
admit
us do.
it.
This is
If
all
you did
brand new
it, just
territory.
admit it. Oh my gosh. So, okay, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of a timeline. As I said, I always look at old news. I like to look back into history. I was a historian at one point.
Might be old to you, but
It might
it's
be
new
old
to
to me,
us.
but it's news to me. So, Ontario students begin e-learning as COVID closures continue. So, we know COVID was March 13th. So, 10/13 or 3/13, sorry.
You say it like it was a date. It was March 13th.
It was March 13th that
had
COVID
entered our
happened,
lives.
that entered our lives. That's when it entered our consciousness. Social distancing became a thing, and hand sanitizer got sold out, and toilet paper was gone, and the kids were fleeing from schools. Everyone was out.
People became bakers and makers and
candlestic makers,
out of
butchers and
nowhere.
bakers, out of nowhere. The grocery stores are empty, and the kids were at home. So what are you going to do with the kids at home? So apparently it was April, beginning of April, they began online learning. So it had been about 3 weeks into the closure, since the shutdown, since the lockdown.
And I'm not going to lie, this seemed very optional in the beginning because I was like,
They shut
you
it.
really about
They
to
said
let
that
these
it was
little
because of
kids?
physical distancing, and that because they couldn't manage it. So I don't know why they can't manage it then. They're going to be able to manage it now. Teachers were beginning to do live and pre-recorded lessons. But parents were already obviously seeing the problems. Because number one biggest problem to me is not every student is created equal financially. Mm-hmm. Right? So I know that all of my nieces and nephews, because I have a bunch of them, because I consider my friends' kids, they're my sisters, so they're my nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. So all my nieces and nephews can afford computers and laptops and tablets and Nintendo lights and...
oh my god!
I said it. They can afford all that stuff, right? But what about the low-income families that can't afford to? And they're saying, "Oh, we're going to give you a computer, like you're giving us this top-of-the-line situation for the
Chromebook.
kids."
Yeah, it's
What's a
a new-
Chromebook?
Yeah.
It's a Google
cheap.
laptop.
What's a Google laptop?
Laptop.
Yeah.
Is it cheap?
Limited function.
Limited function.
Yeah, I guess.
I think
Yeah.
it'll do the job. That's all you.
Yeah.
It's
For the
like really
kids.
for the
Yeah.
kids.
Like they don't
It's not
need
like
the
they're passing around MacBook
Yeah.
Airs,
No,
basically.
not
So,
at all.
there's that issue. For the youngest ones, there was childcare as well. That shut down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all of these things, this started for all of us in April.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to say this man's name, but he's a flip-flopper. The education minister, Stephen Leashy.
Yeah, maybe that may be a Leashy.
Leashy has said that e-learning cannot fully replace the in-classroom experience. So the goal is to help students continue their education as much as possible during the pandemic.
You know what? And I'm not too sure if this is this the guy who's, did you do any background research on him? Because there was somebody who's been a private school, like he's always gone to private school. Probably is him.
He looked like a private school kid.
He's a private school kid, and he knows
Skinny,
nothing of the
tall.
public.
Nothing about this.
Yeah, he looks so weird to me because the old minister was this old wrinkly white guy, like this wrinkly.
He's
like
youngish, right?
This guy's young.
Yes.
He's like
Yes.
Justin with the good hair. Like
Yes.
he's green. He's green, right? The ministry was recommending that elementary students spend between 5 to 10 hours on learning per week, depending on their age.
Which they did not.
They did not, as Bianca will be able to attest to from her own situation. High school students, it says, should have spent 3 hours per course per week. And if they were in a semestered system, or half of that if the schedule isn't split into semesters. So this was the lovely thought that they had to put upon these children who don't understand what's going on, especially for the young ones.
You're supposed to be teaching you're supposed to be teaching in general, first and foremost, but like that can't do anything most likely for themselves. You just decided to give them ISUs. Cool.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
Basically. And there's a story. There was a woman who was talking about from Kingston. I can't pronounce her name. I'm not going to bother saying it. But
Christelle Bevins
LeBlanc. She has a son in grade 9. He's a special needs student who really struggles in the typical classroom. And to be expected to do things independently at home with no support is just not going to happen. It's just absurd. Imagine like if Patrice was still in school and she had to learn, our autistic cousin, she had to learn without her support systems.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was the table. She had to learn without her support systems. That would be, I don't know. It's
difficult. It would be it's a real change for everybody, and we all know that. It's not just for the parents and the teachers. It's a big change for the ministry and the government too. But like once again, like just admit you don't know shit.
You don't know what you're doing. We're in
uncharted
territories. We can figure it out all together
as a collective
instead of hiding. And
then giving this false sense of
security and trust and security.
Yeah, and like, we're giving you the options. Because let me tell you the emails that I've been getting from since March. But continue.
I'm going to go to online learning really quick. Just want to talk about a couple of little facts that I have. 1.2, I've read 1.2, I've read 1.37 billion, but a whole heap and lot of kids are out of the classroom right now. As a result, education has changed because of e-learning dramatically, where teachers are undertaking remote and digital platforms that they probably don't even know that much about.
Yep. But could we just, for a second, I was going to say, do you remember when the whole big thing was, the kids are out of school for summer for 2 months, they're going to lose all their education that they learned.
Send them to summer school.
Send them to summer school. Like, these kids have been out of school since March break.
And they haven't gotten stupider. I don't think they've gotten stupider. I think they're okay.
I just think they've just not done their work, if anything.
They've gotten lazy. They haven't gotten stupid, though.
And that's because they don't have
lazy.
teachers. And I mean, yes, they have parents that could tell them to do their homework and things like that. But like, how are you going to tell a kid to do homework that they don't know how to do? Because you're supposed to be teaching them, and mom and dad don't remember how to do it. Are we supposed to ask Google? Are we supposed to trust
Mom
Wikipedia?
would say ask Google.
Listen.
Mom would tell you to check Google.
If we could have asked Google, these children would have been in school from time. Google would have been teaching our children from time. The government would have saved enough money.
Yes, trust me. AI. They're trying to take AI's taking over. So they're using examples, like they were talking about what people in, for instance, Denmark and South Korea were doing during this time. They said that in Denmark, children up to the age of 11 are returning to nurseries and schools after the initial closing in March 12th. So they actually finished out their school year. But in South Korea, students were doing roll call from their teachers online. Mm-hmm. So some countries are And some countries shit the bed on this school thing. I'll tell you all about Israel in a minute.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they really shit the bed. But my question is, did you want to talk about your letters yet? Do you want to jump in? Because I'm just talking.
Oh, well, like, listen. These emails come every other day, and they're just so lengthy, and sometimes I don't read them. But for the gist of it all, like, they're just trailing us parents along at this point. Like, oh, well, they'll be back. Or, you know, like, it's just simple schoolwork on the computer. And, oh, like, we'll give you the option of what you could do. Like, they could either go back for a couple of days. They can go back for a full week. We could do it online. Like, but the fact remains, you know what? Before COVID happened, parents used to go to work, and they used to drop their kids to daycare, and their kids would be sick same ways. Getting everybody else's kids sick, and we get a notice back in the mail at the end of the day saying, oh, little Timmy had a stomach flu, so just be wary.
Be wary that you
just
kid,
be
like,
wary.
little Timmy has COVID.
So, like, honestly, like, all these just, like, it's redundant. Parents aren't stupid. Children are naive a little, you know, well, if we're being 100%. Children are naive. Parents are smart. We know this is not going away. So just, once again, 100% honesty is all we want.
So, okay, in your opinion, I have a question for both of you and your opinions. With the sudden shift away from classrooms in many parts of the globe, some of us are wondering whether the adaptation of online learning will continue to persist post-pandemic, and how such a shift would impact the worldwide education market. So are we thinking that, because they've made, I will let you know about, like, the whole 3 bullet point hybrid education situation that this Lachey Lychee guy is trying to propose to all of us. It's a
Let's
big
give him a
bag of
bougie name,
nonsense.
Lachey.
Lachey.
2 C's.
Yeah, you know, let's be French, Lachey. So Stefan Lachey, he's come up with these some ideas, some thoughts, and we'll get to those. But can online learning, for instance, for high school students, could it work for them?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
They're mature enough to know.
I think, though, I don't see, for universities and colleges, I don't see why they would really be rushing to go back to a normal format when if this does work and people, you know, they can get their hours in, you can do your education. Why go back to university or college for the college's perspective and pay all that overhead of having the campus? This is a much cheaper option for them.
And it was an option before. You could either do online studies in, you know, in post-secondary, or you can go
them
into
a lot
the
of money.
class.
And people are still paying those same dues, your same, you know, your same loan that you have to give through your payments.
Your
tuition,
yeah.
So.
It's about to be obsolete. They've already started making jobs obsolete where you have to come into the office. Everything's going to be home. They've been cutting education budget. They've been doing educational budget cuts for years. You think this is not going to be the biggest budget cut of them all?
Yeah,
well, according to this statistic, e-learning requires 40 to 60% less time to learn than the traditional classroom setting.
Exactly.
40 to 60% less.
My
time.
daughter does her homework in 30 minutes.
Wow.
And she does it.
She does it.
30
minutes,
grandmother would not
30
let her
minutes
not do it.
for everything. For the math questions they give her for the day, for the literacy they make her do, for the writing prompt they make her do, everything. She's done in 30 to 45 minutes. And on top of that, she does do Kumon too, so like she's at an advantage against a lot of kids that can't afford those type of extra curriculum activities. So I don't really worry about her.
No.
In particular, but like 30 minutes. So we used to send these kids to school for what? 8:30 to 3?
To 3? What are they doing in all that time?
What were you guys doing with these kids?
It's making teachers feel like they're
They had 3
I don't want to say they're
recesses.
obsolete because I love teachers, but like, what are you doing with these kids that my niece
lot
is
of
only
filler.
taking 30
But you know what?
minutes?
Filler
It's
there.
not really a filler. It's the socialization as well, because that's what we need. That's what kids need when they're growing up, to learn to socialize with people accordingly. So it's not really the fillers, but it's just the fact that is that how much time you really needed for these kids to socialize? Because now that COVID started, my daughter was doing like once a week on a Friday for an hour. She's socializing with kids on Zoom with her teacher present.
How was that? What was that like?
Honestly, like
Did she
every
enjoy
week,
it?
I think so. Just being able to see her friends at least like for an hour. And on top of that, like, I've had parents messaging me on Facebook like, oh, have you downloaded kids Facebook Messenger for your daughter? Like, you know, like, so they could talk. So she's on that, like, constantly talking to her two best friends.
Me. It's so cute.
Yeah, like, now she messages, you know, the aunties, everything. So it's just... Listen, it's coming, people. COVID is happening. It's coming.
It's already here.
The government's about to shut it down. We're talking about defund the police.
Defund the police.
We were talking about defund the police 2 weeks ago.
Defund the police.
No. They're going to defund schools.
We're not going to take it.
It
is
schools out
for the summer.
No, not for the summer.
Forever.
What we wanted all those years ago is these children are getting now.
Lucky little sons of bitches.
Some will sink and some will float.
That's
mine
life.
will float.
Sure. Yeah.
Ours, we have sharks in our family, so I don't know about anything else. If you're a guppy, that's your business. I'm a shark.
Listen here, flounder.
My nieces are sharks.
You better find yourself an Ariel.
So don't even worry about that. Next story. Ontario boards partial back to school plan that worries working parents. And why are they worried? I'll let you know right now.
Them sick children.
So apparently on June 19th, because you have to understand, this is all coming to me as news, as I said.
Because you don't have no pick-me.
I don't have no kids. I don't got no pick-me's. So I'm in the house now. I'm staying at my parents' house, you know, so I'm seeing the kids, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't see... Summertime is right now, but I wasn't there when Aaliyah was doing her work.
Oh, it was the same thing, different day.
But I'm, like, thinking, what's going to happen in September when she has to go back to school?
First of all, I'm pretty sure
thinking about this.
I'm going to wake up September 10th and be like, oh, shit, school started 3 days ago. I'm pretty sure. That's number one. Let's be realistic, because I even forget August is next week. Like, what?
What?
Bitch,
My
what?
birthday's
Snuck
in a
up
month?
on us
Like, huh?
real quickly.
It's snuck.
Like, Virgo season soon? Leo season just started, but we don't care about that. Virgo season soon?
Virgo season is on its way.
Just saying, you know.
Yeah, so here's the 3-tiered layered plan that Education Minister Stephen Lachey is proposing.
I definitely got this bullshit email. 3
scenarios, he calls it. I love how in education there's all of a sudden scenarios. So it used to be so solid, education used to be. Now we have scenarios. We're just we're pitching shit in the wall and just hoping something sticks at this point. So that's what this Lachey guy is doing, it seems like to me. I don't know him personally. I don't know if he's listening, but you're slipping, sir. You're slipping. So regular in-class instruction with physical distancing measures in place.
These children will not do.
Which children will not do. Full-time remote learning, which children will not do. Hybrid model blending both approaches.
Okay. So do you want to hear the email? Now
Hold on a second. Last part.
Oh.
So he's saying for the 2020-2021 cohort of classes, there'll be no more than 15 students in the class attending alternate days of the week. So he said currently discussing the above model would have half the students attending school on Mondays and Tuesdays. Wednesdays would be a day for deep cleaning for schools. And Thursday and Fridays, the other half of the students would attend school. This model looks and feels very different, but is an important step towards returning to the regular school day. That's a quote by Lachey.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
The Toronto district. No, the Toronto district school board is coming up.
That's
they
for
have
Ontario.
their own situation. That's for Ontario in general.
So I don't know what school shot you out and graduated you, sir, but yellow card. Children barely listen. Okay, I have two. I have a 1-year-old and a 9-year-old. They barely listen. Okay, so if you think that you're going to have these children marching in a school in lines like you have us marching in the grocery stores, like we're in the clubs, not going to happen.
Nope.
If you think these kids are going to be hand sanitizing every time they go out or not go out, not going to happen.
Like they have OCD
if you think you're
going
to lock them down in a school without giving them recess to limit their physical distancing, not going to happen. Okay? It just doesn't make sense. And then you're going to have 15 kids in a room, deep clean one day in between, and then put another 15 kids in the room for 2 days.
My favorite thing, which comes much later in my notes, but I remembered it right now, someone suggested a mega bubble.
Oh,
So like Bubble
like
Boy.
the yoga bubbles.
Like a
Boy,
Bubble Boy.
Toronto's yoga
It's a
bubbles.
massive
So
version.
it's like a mega bubble where the kids, there'll be 0 to 12 or 0 to 15 kids, and the kids can only interact with their families, immediate families, and their teacher, and the 15 people. So you put them in a mega bubble. So they can't they can't go to the
my
grocery store, they
gosh.
can't go to the park, they can't.
Clearly,
so
these people
school to
grew up in the
home, homeschool.
90s. Blockbuster
Are we
times.
in
They're just-
1945 Germany? Like, what's going on right now?
yeah,
Like,
that's wild.
are we? Is
Listen,
this
just keep, like, honestly, at this point,
the Third Reich?
you
Like,
guys
what is
used
happening?
to pass us back in the day, even if we were failing. Just pass these kids. Because, as I said earlier, some are going to float and some are going to sink with these theories that you want to put out there with what we're going to do when school comes to it. But, like, if kids start dying, blood is on your hands, Mr. Stephen Liche.
It's on your hands.
So be prepared. Whether kids start dying, they get sick, they're on ventilators. Thank God we live in a world where healthcare is free, so they won't have to worry. But don't be that guy. Like Beanie Man said, don't be that guy. Don't
Shout
be
out to
that
Ebbs.
guy.
Shout out to Ebbs.
Don't be that guy.
So Ryan Bird, that's the spokesperson for the Toronto District School Board. He said the models under discussion include options that would see students allowed in the class during staggered days and even weeks. So he's come up with a new term. TDSB has come up with a new term, implementing quadrimesters.
Trimesters.
So of high school
I
students.
like that.
So which they would have academic year divided into 4 sections with 2 courses apiece.
So, you know what? I like the thought. Quadrimesters. Give the 15 students 4 to 6 weeks to learn the course and swap them out every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That makes sense. The kids, are the same kids in the classroom. So
No cross
contamination.
Yeah.
You're breaking down the semester. Semester is how many weeks? Like 13 maybe or something? No. How much is a semester? How much is a semester from September to December? That's about 12, 13 weeks.
16 weeks.
16 weeks. Break that down into 4.
You have to take out. It's like 13 because you got to take out
Like the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. I don't know if that's what he was thinking with that word, but that's what I thought when you said that word. I like that word.
Yeah.
Quadrimesters.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have graduated quicker if we had quadrimesters.
So everyone seems to be pushing everything until August, which is ridiculous. According to Bird, they'll be finalizing things with the Minister of Education and public health officials for August, which is right around the corner.
Next week.
Childcare providers are already operating at a limited capacity, leaving them poorly equipped to take on new children or on a potentially erratic schedule. So childcare is still up in the air. I know my girlfriend just got childcare for her son, so she'll be coming back to Toronto. I don't know if she won a lottery or something. I don't know how that happened, but she's awesome, so I'm glad it did. But I'm just saying, like, it's a shit show in childcare. It's a shit show at school right now.
Of course. You want parents to go back to work, but who's going to watch their kids? So we got to figure that out before school, I guess. But it's a coming.
Yeah, so it's saying now, this next news story, here's what the school year may look like under COVID-19, according to the new Toronto District School Board head. So it's a black lady, Carlene Jackson. Saw a video with her in it. She seemed very, like, confident in the fact that she didn't know what she was talking about. Yeah.
I put air quotes
Doesn't know
around that
anything
cause.
to speak it on.
No, I just feel like, I'm sorry, Charlene Jackson or Charmaine Jackson. What is her name? Sorry.
Girl,
Carlene.
they put you out there because Black Lives Matter right now.
I wanted to say to you, I know you're doing the best that you can, and you don't have all the answers. And sometimes I feel like they just put people out there. Let's just get a black female, stick her out there, and hope to God she's a winner.
What did we just say the other day?
Like,
they're putting these black females up front right now with Black Lives Matters. They're like, listen, we can't be sexist and racist. We got to put them to the forefront and let people listen to them. Don't let them use you as a puppet. If you don't know what you're talking about, just say you don't know. We'll respect you more.
No, this is why I respect her, though, because I was talking off the cuff, and I apologize. I shouldn't have said that, but this is why I respect her, because they want to start school September 1st. She's like, to maximize instruction time for students. She's like, that might happen, but probably not.
And I know
she was
said
very
it just
clear.
like that.
She was very clear about it. She's dealing with 250,000 students amid the pandemic. 250,000 students. The largest school board in the province's largest school board is Toronto District School Board.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just basically saying there's no guarantee that they're going to meet that target. So she's being realistic, which I can totally
Fair.
appreciate.
Thank you.
Because when you've got the Ministry of Education up there saying we're going to do adaptive learning models, which is basically like the fancy talk for those three bullshit ideas that he had earlier. You have to be real. Like you're the head now as of July 15th. So tell us what is going on? Like what is happening?
Because you know what it is for us parents is like, as we said earlier today, like people are dying and we just don't want the next generation dying right now. Like 250,000 students. Could you imagine like 20% of that getting infected? Mm-hmm. Even 10%, 5%, like of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
We want 0%, number one, as parents and hopefully as a nation. Like, so why would you treat our kids like guinea pigs?
Yeah, they don't
why would
ask
you treat
for
our
this.
kids like guinea pigs? Yeah, they mom always said they didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to come.
They didn't ask for COVID. No, but I guess she adds that teachers will be faced with challenges of trying to keep students 2 meters apart, in classrooms, even though the adaptive model would only allow a maximum of 15 people per class. But they're going to be hitched up under each other.
They haven't seen each other since March break. They've been seeing each other digitally.
Here's the thing. So she says, whatever. But the problem is, she did not provide a solution for how teachers could help keep kids away from one another. Because
there is no solution.
There's no obvious solution.
There's no obvious solution. No. Unless you chain these children to chairs, there's no obvious solution.
Duct tape them or something.
This whole time I'm thinking, too, what a nightmare for the teachers.
I have my two best friends are teachers. I've talked to them since COVID has happened. My one friend, Mamie, has 2 kids, 2 young children, 9 and I think 5. I can't remember. Sorry, Mamie. I'm bad with ages. And then my friend Fran, my best friend Franny, has 3 boys. Very rambunctious, very energetic. She's had to teach as a teacher, but I think she's doing guidance counseling now as well. So she's had to teach as a teacher, and on top of that, teach her own kids. Yeah. While her husband was in an essential worker position and still had to go to work because he, works at a company where he's an essential worker. Mm-hmm. So she was all alone with the kids as a teacher and a mother.
And we all, as a parent, we always get that email at the end of the school year about teachers, who's leaving, who's staying, who's coming back off maternity leave. If you saw the list this year, normally it's about 2 teachers that leave. It was about 6 this year.
Wow.
Those numbers went up.
Yeah, because not only can you pay these teachers to stay during this crisis, you probably can't, number one, but they have kids of their own that they have to worry about. Mm-hmm. And this is a situation. Like, I was seeing an article, I don't know if you found it in your research, but they were saying that it's going to be way more expensive to implement a lot of the things they want to implement with these children with school. Like, it's almost
going to cost $149 or $249 million. And they'd have to hire 2,500. It's in my notes, but they have to hire maybe 110 times more teachers than they have.
They've been cutting school funds for years.
Why do you think teachers were just on strike before COVID?
Do you know the letters?
Exactly.
I remember.
Do you remember that? They were on strike right before COVID.
When we were younger, they were telling us, you need to bring these items for school, for your kids' school, the pencil crayons, this, that, and the third. You know what kind of mail I get now when September 1st comes? We need Kleenex. We need Kleenex. We need paper.
Sanitizer.
If you can buy us a pack of paper from Staples, we'll be greatly appreciated. I'm like, bitch, what?
Why am I doing your job?
Paper $5.
Because what you guys don't realize about teachers is teachers go. I knew this from Michael's. This is why I will always love teachers, because I knew it from working at Michael's craft store. The teachers would come in August, and they would buy the school supplies for their class. They stock up out of their own pockets to buy school supplies for these little kids to help them, progress in life. And the government and the school boards aren't even helping them out, reimbursing them nothing.
Could you imagine when they have to come out their pocket for hand sanitizer now? That's $16
and toilet paper.
$16 a bottle?
Purell stock's gone up exponentially.
Purell? I haven't seen a bottle of Purell or smelt Purell in months. Where are you getting Purell?
Oh, it's all the knockoff ones now. It's the homemade ones I'm seeing.
That's not no real Purell. That's refilled.
That's refilled.
Yeah. Off-brand.
Oh my gosh, off-brand. Okay, so as Ontario heads to stage 3, pressure grows for full-time school plans amid COVID-19. So this article basically was about, what did I take from this?
The Ford government.
The Ford government announcing of the stage 3 reopening measures has ramped up calls from Ontario parents, educators, and public health experts.
Of course,
for a plan for kids to get back to school full time come September. So you're opening up bars, restaurants, clubs,
because your dollar beers and patios
your patios
are way
need
more
to be
important.
Open. Patio season can't pass by during COVID. You're canceling Caravana, but patios got to be open. Restaurants got to be open. And I respect restaurant work. I worked in a restaurant myself. I have cousins that are out of people have to make money. We get it, because Doug's like, I don't even drink. I hate when people do justifications like that. He actually made the statement that I didn't open the restaurant so I could drink because I don't even drink. I did it for the business owners. What about the kids?
It doesn't matter whether you drink or not. It's what you're reinforcing. So. Kids, basically you're telling us the kids don't mean shit, and they're guinea pigs.
And they're apparently reintroducing them, letting the customers go indoors starting Friday. That was mid-July.
Oh yeah. I've seen the videos. I've seen how the restaurants are coping and trying to do this open situation. Listen, I haven't been to a restaurant to eat. I've missed it, but I'm not dying. You see what I'm saying?
But school is a necessity.
School is a necessity. If you want people to start going back to their jobs at restaurants and free malls and all this, you got to figure out the situation at school. These openings aren't going to mean shit when September comes.
To go back to take care of their kids.
Yes,
exactly.
It's just gonna.
Their jobs.
Just makes it more complicated.
It's so simple yet so complex for these people, and it doesn't make any type of sense. It doesn't make any type of sense. What is so hard to understand?
So apparently Doug and Stefan have indicated they prefer to see kids in class full time. That's great. I love that you want to see kids in class full time. You know what I'd like? I'd like $5 million and a fucking unicorn. But I'm not going to get it, am I, without doing the work? So if you're not going to do the work, Mr. Ford,
it doesn't matter what you'd like.
It doesn't matter what stars. Put your wishes in one hand and piss in the other, and see which one fills it faster. That's the actual saying that I read in a romance novel. I'll repeat it. As I said to you, Ford, put your wishes in one hand and piss in the other, and see which one fills up faster. This is pissy wishes. You got pissy wishes.
Because you know what?
I'm so mad. I got kids. I'm so mad about this. I'm reading this.
No, because you know what it is. It's just they're treating these children like guinea pigs. If they don't matter. So what if we lose a couple hundred of kids because we send them back to school and don't do the research? Their parents can make new ones. That is what it seems like. That's the vibe. I'm not saying that that's exactly what they're saying. But when you're playing with kids' lives...
why don't we just send them to the front line of war?
Yeah.
Why don't we send them to the front line?
Yeah, why don't we just send them into hospitals and hope they cheer up the COVID patients at this point?
Be devil's advocate.
We
can't... What is the clear-cut solution to this? Because we're saying kids can't be at home. We don't want them to be the guinea pig with these new experiments that we're basically running on them.
No, keep them home.
Keep them home?
Keep them home.
Who's going to watch them?
Keep them
when
home.
People have to go back to work.
I don't know.
See, this is a tricky situation. I got to cut them a little bit of slack.
Here's my thing. No, the government needs to put funding into... And I'm not saying because I love curb money. I've been getting it. I love it. But you're giving everyone $2,000 each till December now. If you guys haven't heard the news, it was news to me. I just found out yesterday from Grandma Judy. So I'm getting curbed till December. I'm excited. But, you know, you're putting all this money into, like, people who are basically, some of us are scamming you. Like, I know I'm without a position right now in life, so I need my curb money. But there are people out there that are just taking that money. That
Organization, you know, like
you're giving, you're funding businesses. You're putting money into to stimulus packages for businesses, and kids are our future. Teachers who teach kids are our future. So if you're not willing to put funding into something as basic of a need as education,
you know what? Even if you wanna even make it. So yeah, parents have to go back to work or whatever the case may be. Limit the school structure to 5 kids online in a classroom with a teacher. You see what I'm saying? Like, make it so it's one teacher, 5 kids on a Zoom chat for 2-3 hours. An hour a subject. They got access to a teacher if they need help right away and stuff like that. Like, figure it out.
Because you're saying 15 and the rule right now is 10. So 15 little people is okay in a room.
But you know what kills me? Even before COVID came into be, 20 kids in a classroom with one teacher was a problem. They're splitting up kids halfway through this. Oh, there's too many kids in this classroom. We got 25. We got to move 5. Yeah. They've been doing this for years. So what difference do you think 15 kids is going to make with COVID times, 2 meters apart, with one teacher?
They need to hire more teachers. They need to put more funding into education.
So hire more teachers. If you're so obnoxious and you want to pay them less, fine. They're not in a building. They're on screens with these kids. Do whatever you need to do, but figure it out. That's all we want. Figure it out, or tell us you can't figure it out, so we could try and figure out a medium for ourselves.
Yeah. You can put it into your own hands.
You see what I'm saying? You know how many people need jobs right now? You could find a tutor to tutor your kid.
Yeah, you could.
I could tutor your kid. I need a job right now.
You could put into place in the government. We need tutors right now with the kids. If tutors are okay with getting tested to make sure they don't have COVID or whatever the case may be, and do it that way, there is ways. Whether it's they gotta pull money from either which way. It don't matter. Someone's getting funding pulled, but it shouldn't be the schools. Is the point?
It should be the police.
Defund the police.
Defund the police.
It should be whether it's the police or whether it's some other part in the government
big
that doesn't need the money right now.
I mean, at this point, we know the economy is going to be ruined. It's ruined already.
It's shot, and nobody's saving anybody.
Yeah, so let's look out for the kids. Put some money into that. That's the future of our country.
We can suffer. We're adults. But the kids, they can't suffer. They can't suffer when it comes to education. They can't suffer when it comes to finances. And they can't suffer when it comes to survival. So... it's just there's no sacrifice that needs to be made in between with the kids. That's all that. So figure it out.
Apparently, Dr. Michael Warner, who's the medical director of critical care at the Michael Garron Hospital in Toronto, ironically said, to achieve the goal of getting kids back in class 5 days a week, schools need to be made into safe, controlled environments. I thought schools were safe, controlled environments.
Yeah.
Schools not safe, controlled environments.
But they're not safe enough from COVID, not from Mr. COVID.
Not from Mr.
COVID. Yeah, and this is another thing too. What implemented? Who's sanitizing these schools in between when you guys are making up these whole Wednesday sanitation?
Because I know my school had one janitor.
Because you see what I'm saying, and and sanitization process aren't cheap. So what? They need to think this through. That's all I know. These kids don't need to be back in school if you're going to cut corners and do a shitty job.
Yeah, this article is the one that talks about the mega bubble, as I mentioned before. It actually says while children and their teachers would have increased contact with each other in attending school full time, they would have little contact with people outside their school and immediate family. That's not going to work either. Do you know how many cousins I have? Do you know how many cousins my niece has? And god sisters and brothers?
No,
you're telling her she can't see anyone outside of her own family and her teacher? What is that about? Now,
okay, because we keep talking about little kids even. So we're going to spit it to Elle for a second. Even with university and college, don't you go to bars and stuff?
Yeah, I'm going to be real. A lot of people my age I'm not going to put myself out there. I don't think I've been doing it as much as other people
Other
I know.
people,
But people are going out. People are out on the patios. People are having kickbacks. They're in the backyard. They're going to the beach.
So even if grown-ups that are our age can't even follow the
Like,
rules.
Yeah, like you expecting little kids to do that is just...
Have you heard anything from your school yet? Like from your, where do you go? College?
I go to Humber,
University?
but I'm done. So
Humber.
I'm not.
Oh,
even
you're
starting.
done now?
He's like, I'm not even
finished.
getting
I'm
them.
not dealing with
I
it.
thought you were going into your
Convince
fourth
me.
year.
No. I just have one last course that I'm doing online now.
He's like,
Oh,
Ministry
how's
of
it
Ontario.
going? Like,
It's
I'm
good.
done
It's
with
easy.
you.
It's easy.
I'm done with you.
Y'all take that to the next year.
But yeah, I don't want to deal with that. I'm so happy I'm not.
Have you heard anything though? Have you heard like what?
I haven't really been
I
looking,
haven't
to be
really
honest with
looked
you.
into it. I tried looking into it, but
That
they
sounds
didn't
like
really
a
have a
nightmare,
lot of
though.
things
Doing a
in
full
college
course
and
load,
university.
all online from home.
Listen,
like doing
online-
6+ classes.
Online courses, when I used to do them,
Nah,
I've done
not for me.
full-time course load, and I've done part-time. Part-time is online.
Yeah.
So like, and it's
But that's
it's one
like
of the most
3
tedious
courses or something like that?
No, you could do up to 6. You could
You
do
could
up to like a
6,
full time,
yeah.
but like it's one of the most tedious things because when you got to reach out to your professor, it's online through a text message or an email. You got to
It's
wait for
just
them to
not the same.
respond back. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
It does, and that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
adults. You know what
they
I'm saying?
can't even
And then
mentally
apply that
handle it.
to young kids.
Kids.
You know, and that's what I was going to ask. Actually, what do you think this is going to do on like just their mental health? You know,
Oh,
like,
I was going
the
to touch on it. Don't
implications
get
of
me
this.
wrong.
Yeah,
But it's
The
good that you
repercussions,
brought
I
it
should
up.
say. Yeah,
You know, the isolation.
that's what I'm saying.
Pediatricians are actually saying send them back to school.
And
I read an article.
let that their immune system build up, eh?
Yeah, they're saying
All
send
that
them back,
foolishness.
send them back to school because it's worse on their mental health
That's
to
what
be
I.
home
That's what I'm
than
thinking.
to be
yeah.
at school.
Yeah.
It's
Some
true,
people are saying
but-
the hybrid
Which is
model.
more of the risk, like
I think
the
I
mental
think,
health
well,
issues that may
well,
arise from this
In the long
that's
run?
true.
In the long run,
That's
or
true. That's true.
the potential
To
kids
get
aren't as
COVID,
susceptible to it.
yeah,
you know.
they can't. They're not contracting it as much. They're not passing it on as much.
But they're only not susceptible and not catching it and stuff because parents aren't letting them go outside.
That's true.
This is the thing. We don't really know the research. That's why the kids that go back to school are going to be the guinea pigs.
they're guinea
It's
pigs.
going to be are they catching it like the adults? Are they not catching it like the adults? Are their bodies absorbing it and they're immune to it? Are they not immune to it? And when it comes to kids with their medical issues, just like the mental
That's a whole
health could
other
be a
factor.
long term effect, they can end up having health effects for their long run.
Yep.
In the
Yep.
long run, kids have little things like asthma. You know, like they get the chicken pox. They get like all these. They have vaccines for all these little diseases to fend their bodies when they're little. For a reason. We don't even have a vaccine for grown people, but you're gonna throw these kids back into school and just hope and pray to God that they don't get something.
That's true.
Kids get the stomach flu and a cold from a kid that sneezes and touches a doorknob.
They're saying I read somewhere where they're like they'll leave the door open. I'm like these are not solutions.
That doesn't help.
Like,
Does
come
it help?
on,
Yeah,
like.
I'll get to
Nothing
that
at
Put
all.
point.
me in the game.
bugging.
I could make better suggestions than these
Put me in
people.
the game.
Put me in the game. Like, what do you mean?
According-
Well, leave the door
We'll
open.
leave the door
What
open.
What happens to the water fountain? You're gonna leave that on too? They just stick their mouse underneath the water
What?
fountain. I just done. Just lick a little cat.
Look it up. Look it up.
Yeah.
Stupidness.
Green leader, because you know the Green Party always has something
Oh,
to say.
my
So
gosh.
Green leader Mike Schneider, in a statement, said it is unacceptable
Yes, Mike.
that 7 weeks out from the start of the school year, parents, students, and educators remain in the dark.
It is unacceptable.
Yellow card.
Yellow card, red card for you. in
Red
fact.
card for
Like,
you. Justin with the good hair, come on. Ontario needs your help.
like,
We need your help.
listen, I'm not putting this whole blame on Justin. There's a lot of shifty and
There's
faulty
a
people
lot
in
of
his
people
camp.
in between to get to
He's
to us.
he's doing the damn thing for us, okay, right now.
Yeah.
But like, come on, like somebody bear the load, carry the burden for the
Stephen
man.
Lachey. That's the one that should be bearing the load.
Like, come on, Lachey.
Anyways, what Ontario can learn from elsewhere about making schools safer from COVID.
Now, is this the Israel story? I'm not
This
even
is the
prepared.
Israel story.
What did you do? What did you do?
So, Finland and Denmark, they did a good job. Israel and South Korea, not so much.
Okay, I need to know what the not so much people did.
Hold on, where is it?
I have 7 weeks to make this decision.
Hold on.
I'm probably homeschooling. Send me the booklets.
Where is it? So Denmark, I'm going to start with Denmark. So
Okay.
Denmark became the first country in Europe to reopen its schools in April after early evidence suggested children usually don't become very ill with COVID. So
Don't become
primary
very ill.
schools were the first to return. Micro groups were returned of 12 people, arrived at staggered times, eating lunch separately, staying in their own zones and on the playground in their own zones, and taught by one teacher. Children wash their hands hourly, but staff and students aren't required to wear masks. So that's what's going on in Denmark.
Oh, idiocy. Not that they keep them on anyways, but okay.
Classes are taught inside one day, outside the other. Oh, and was interesting. So Denmark, in a creepy turn of events, included church graveyards as a classroom, where fifth graders had to calculate ages based on birth and death dates engraved on gravestones. Isn't that crazy?
It's kind of creepy, man.
It's creepy,
That's
but
really
it's
cool.
cool. It's creepy, but it's kind of
creepy,
cool.
but
it's something.
It was during the
Denmark
day.
is trying. Denmark
They
is
are
trying.
trying. They are trying.
They're trying.
I gotta respect that for sure.
E for effort.
And the reopenings in Denmark haven't led to any obvious increases in growth rates
Spikes.
of COVID or
Okay.
spikes.
Okay, so now I know where
Israel, by contrast.
Mr. Ford got his
Yeah.
information from when he's like, let the children go outside for school.
Yeah, so
You didn't think that up on
No,
your
he
own,
didn't,
sir.
he didn't come out. That was Denmark.
Okay.
So Israel, by contrast, they're a cautionary tale. After a complete lockdown in March of all schools, Israel began limiting reopenings of kindergartens to grade 12 students in small groups in early May.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm
A
going to be
couple
sick.
of weeks later, on May 17th, they flung open the entire school system while simultaneously lifting restrictions on bars, restaurants, and gatherings.
So
10
they just
days,
basically reopened
They reopened
the whole
everything
country.
all at once.
All right.
So
cool.
10 days later, there was a major COVID outbreak at the high school in Jerusalem. 260 kids, staff and relatives and friends were infected.
This is what I'm talking about.
This is what we're worried about.
250 what?
260
260
staff, relatives, and friends.
Okay. And that's just of what is known. Because
Numbers are way higher.
the numbers are way higher than
Gotta
260.
Be. Gotta be.
Those people have come in contact with other people between that time of their positive testing and them getting infected.
Exactly.
This is what the problem comes to be. Kids are going to go back to school. Adults and kids are going to go back to school. Some might have COVID, as mom keeps like to say with our mom and her nursing, you know, these things could remain dormant in people and you don't know you have COVID and you spread it. Do you people want this blood on your hands? Because if 5 kids come back to the school and they have COVID and it's dormant and you don't know they're positive, by the end of the week that could be 260 students.
Yeah, those numbers will go up quick. Yeah.
It's like
It's risky
you
business.
gotta pick and choose your battles right now.
Everyone's such in a hurry to get things back to
Ex-
normal when things are not fucking normal.
Nothing's normal right now.
Nothing's normal
And we need to
anymore.
accept that as a
There's
Exactly.
no such. Now we understand the whole sentence.
Yeah,
If you never
yeah.
thought that before in your life, that you were normal, that everything was normal, there's no such thing as normal anymore. It does not
Things could
exist.
switch on the
Flip of a dime,
like
tip of a hat. So apparently, the outbreak displayed a mass in Israel, a mass COVID-19 transmission upon school reopening. According to one study, they blamed crowded classrooms of 35 to 38.
Okay, they just
That
wanted
made physical distancing impossible, and an unbearable heat wave that led Health Minister Yuli Edelstein to temporarily lift mask rules for students.
just stupidity at its
what
finest.
what is going on, people?
Oh my gosh!
Like
Everybody's in a
what's the
rat race
WTF?
to beat COVID. That's what it
to
is.
beat it.
Everybody's in a rat
Doesn't
race
work
to
like
beat
that,
COVID.
though. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't work like that. But
Everyone wants to come up, be the hero.
yeah, everybody wants to be
They
the
want
hero.
them. They want to be the example of how you live during
Listen,
COVID time.
you see them Americans? You see Trump over there?
Don't put
He
Trump
wants
on
to
my
be,
show,
I'm
you know.
sorry, he wants to be a hero, and he's been leading them people down a straight path. Remember when he said, it's just the flu?
Distraction.
It's just the flu. We'll be good. We'll be good in a week or two. We are, I don't even know how many days deep. I'm tired of counting. I'm tired of counting. We're almost half a year deep in the shit, and it's not going anywhere. and literally until everybody faces that reality that it's not going anywhere and shit has to change, everything's gonna get turned upside down, even the school system's gonna get turned upside down, we're not gonna make any type of progress.
Honestly. Just the last point on Israel, as of mid-July, 125 schools and 258 kindergartens have been closed because of COVID-19 infections. That was reported by the Washington Post.
And that's in Israel?
That's in Israel. That's after they opened everything up, and we're like, yeah, let's just screw it and try.
So you know what?
something
You know,
out.
did you hear if China opened up anything? Any schools?
I know South Korea had an issue. China had opened up their schools in Wuhan. Again, and they haven't had any outbreaks. I read that somewhere. I don't have it in my notes, but I remember reading
Conspiracy
it.
theories.
I remember reading it.
This was made for the U.S. I'm sorry. Just had to say it. How does the first place that had the outbreak have no more outbreaks for the longest time, and America's still climbing and climbing and climbing? It just don't,
right there.
It's just don't make sense. Something's not cooking in the gumbo.
No, the shrimp's missing. The shrimp is
It's
missing.
rank.
So it says there's a near universal agreement that continued closures would be disastrous. Children's hospitals are already seeing a spike in mental health consults, and vulnerable kids are bearing the physical and emotional brunt of prolonged shutdown. So, like, we're literally in a catch-22. This is what we call a quagmire, if you ever watched Family Guy, or a conniption.
A conundrum?
A conundrum. Sorry, not a conniption. Wrong word. I meant conundrum. So, this is all of that ruled. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that you got that. You caught that for me. I never like looking stupid. So, yeah, this is a quagmire. Like, what are we to do? Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, I think parents just need to take care of their kids and keep their kids home.
Honestly, it's one of those situations where it's like, I guess these kids are going to learn from life.
Yeah, I think we should let them walk outside, take them outside occasionally for recess or whatever, and just keep them inside the house.
Make sure they read,
Make sure they read, get them into Kumon, where learning helps you learn. Like, yeah, just get them into a program, get a tutor. Do something. You're getting $2,000 a month. You can spend some of that on a tutor.
Buy a tutor, okay? You don't even need to get someone specific. Like, you know your auntie's daughter who's 16, 17, 18 that knows how to do the grade 6 math because she did it 5 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Like,
there's solutions.
There's solutions. Like, the only reason, like, and I'm not saying, like, parents don't know their kids' schoolwork. It's just that it's been a long time for some of us. Others, like myself, like, I was just in school not too long ago, so I should know most of the stuff. But, like, these are things you don't use in everyday life, so you forget them.
But
Like,
it's not even that you forgot; it's that you did your time.
Yeah, like I did.
You never needed
it again.
So
I might know it.
When was I using trigonometry?
Teach it because I did my time.
Like, when was I using
got a
trigonometry?
92 in calculus. I'm not getting you a 92 in calculus. Get yourself a 92 in calculus.
Like, baby girl, I could help you with fractions. I bake. I gotta know what a quarter cup is. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I gotta know how to tell time.
I could do some cosine shit, but, like, I don't know.
But, like,
I don't know.
I think, though, a bottom line, you said this already, but yeah, some kids are gonna sink, some are gonna swim.
Some are gonna swim.
But it's better to have that be the issue
then kids are dying.
Exactly.
And there's blood on people's hands.
Yeah, and the thing is, the ones that
one or the
sink,
other, and I think
the ones that sink would have sunk in school anyways, so they would have. I'm just saying that. I'm not trying to hate on nobody's children.
I mean,
the
odds are now more against them.
Yes.
Certain kids, if they don't come from a good home,
are meant to thrive, and some people are meant to survive, and that's just the way it is with kids and adults and life in general.
It's just
some people thrive, some people survive. As long as they're surviving and they're not dying and dropping like flies, I don't really care how you teach them.
Past, like, when I said earlier, like, past the kids, like, I meant, like, in a way, like, still teach them, still give them the information to learn, but don't hold it against them right now with the situation that they're in, because they don't have the access. Yeah, like, when my daughter got her report card, there was like 6 incomplete things on there because, they didn't get to cover it in class, and they weren't going to grade them on it in what they had to do online, because it's not fair. It's not an accurate depiction of what their knowledge and what they know. You see, so, like, give the kids the information, You know, give the parents booklets. Like, send us booklets. Like, we wouldn't be opposed to getting a booklet and one sheet a day or something and going over that with them. Physical, tangible information, like with the answers at the back. Like,
Yep.
remember when
yeah.
your math book used to have the answers at the back of the textbook? Just to double check that you knew what you were doing? We need that. Parents need that answer book just to make sure that we're not messing our children up so they float and don't sink. You can't be doing this half-ass. We're giving them the information and we hope you know it too, you know, to make them pass, because that's where the whole sink and float comes in. Like, and that's not fair. Like, it's just a
100%.
shit. It's just a shitstorm.
Yeah, it's a
it's just
shitstorm.
a.
So apparently, announcement coming next week for plans to reopen Ontario
No, it's
schools.
not. Don't even-
This was July 23rd. I never gave dates on any of these things because we were just doing a timeline. But this is the final news flash. So
They lied to us on the 23rd
yeah,
of
they
July.
lied. The Toronto
Picture it.
District School Board, for instance, says that if they were to cohort, and I didn't mention what cohorting was. If I didn't, it's just putting the kids in groups of 15 or whatever and teaching classes that way. That's cohorting. So if they were to cohort all the elementary students in groups of 15 and keep days the same lengths as before, they would need to hire nearly 2,500 teachers. So new teachers, I was right with that number.
Okay.
And it would cost $249 million. So, yeah.
Before or
I
after
would-
the budget cut? Just
I
asking.
would honestly go out there, Lishay, and shake your money tree or shake your money maker.
Yeah,
And
you
get
clearly
that
have
money,
a printing
get that
press in your
shmoney.
backyard, so
Get
just
that money.
you know, get the proper paper and print the money.
Print the money out. Like, who cares about inflation at this point? We're
Yeah.
all in a hell in a handbasket.
I mean,
anyway.
it's just
Pretty much,
fancy
yeah.
paper.
It's just paper. I think we should all start just printing out some money. Just
You know?
give out monopoly money because money's not going to matter in like 5 years anyway. So
I'm pretty sure there's a way to make a money tree. We'll figure it out.
I'm going to make a money tree. I have a money tree.
Who, Mom?
Hey.
Yep.
You
Among
shake that
many-
one a lot, eh?
Shake it like a salt shaker. Among many other things, all schools would need proper screening protocols, personal and protective equipment for all students and staff, smaller class size, and adequate supplies of hygiene and cleaning products. The government's agenda to change, or it seems to change from day to day.
Yep.
But what remains constant is that they haven't given no answers to these pressing issues. No answers, government
Just talking
of
out their
Canada.
ass at
Just
this
talking
point.
out your neck. Talking out. So what should schools do? What do you think schools should do? What do you guys think schools should do? What's your final thoughts on this before we sign off? So I'll give you mine.
Do you want to
Bianca,
go
go
first?
first.
You want me to go first?
Ladies
Honestly,
first.
like,
And you're the one with the 9-year-old, so
yo, listen. At the end of the day, I'm not sacrificing my 9-year-old to be y'all guinea pig so you can figure out if kids are immune or not. My child's a very smart one. She's a very smart cookie, very intellectual for a 9-year-old. And I'm not worried about her. So if I got a homeschooler, if I got to go on Mr. Google and figure out how A plus B equals C over 2, I'll figure it out back again. It can't be as hard as, it must be as easy as figuring out how to ride a bike.
It's not physics.
It's not rocket science. It's not physics. I could figure it out. But what I'm not going to do, see, this is what we not finna do.
What we not finna do,
What we
okay?
not finna
What
do.
we not finna do,
is put my babies
my niece
at risk.
at risk.
Because at the end of the day, like, I'm planning to work soon too, and the little one's gonna have to go to daycare or something like that. But I'm not putting them in these situations where I don't feel confident. So until the government can make me feel confident about putting my child in a building to learn, it's not happening.
A safe and controlled environment.
It's not
Al,
happening.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I don't think until the government actually has a real solid plan, I think most parents are going to share the sentiment that B just said, where they don't feel comfortable having their kids
Strip
in
it
that
down.
environment. You know, that a lot of parents aren't going to. I wouldn't if I had kids. I wouldn't be sending them off to
School.
this
To
school-
war?
this- yeah,
To
this-
war.
To COVID-19.
Yeah, I don't trust that system that they have set up, and they're not going to be doing it to the like. They're going to be freestyling it. It's going to be all on the fly. So it's I don't trust it. No, I think you keep them at home. You try and set the parents up with the most information they can to help smoothing out
Teach.
that process and teach them at home. And yeah, I think that's it.
People have been homeschooling for years, eh? Like, this is not something
This is
that
not a
just
brand
fell
new
out
concept.
the sky. So, like, I know there's booklets. I know there's the information. Just give it to us. Give us the option, even. We're not saying give it to us like it's mandatory. Just give us the option to be like, hey, yeah, that's what we want for our kids.
100%.
Like,
Yeah, and I third all of that motion that just was happening just now with the two of you. I don't have kids, but I know if I did have kids, they would be homeschooled regardless.
yeah.
I'm intelligent enough to teach a child how to fish at this point because I learned at the cottage. So
They would want
So
for
proud.
nothing.
so proud of me. So they would want for nothing. They'd be able to eat. They'd be intelligent. I've got tons of books. Some of them are little racy romance novels. They can read them till they're 16. But, you know,
Literature is literature.
Literature is literature. As long as they're reading, I don't care. I'll make them read labels on a can. I'll do it. I'll get creative. And I've got teachers as friends, so they'll help me get creative. You know, I just can't imagine putting your child at risk during this climate because you're so frustrated with having to homeschool them or be around your kids all the time, Kim K. And, you know, you're just frustrated. Like, you can't put your kids at risk for frustration. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's ridiculous.
And also, even not just the frustration, like, I 100% feel for the parents that have to go to work, because if they don't go to work, there's not a roof over their heads and there's not food and clothes on their kids' back. I 100% respect you guys, but you also have to just take into account when you go to work to do those things, you want to make sure you're coming home to the kids you're doing those things for.
Exactly.
Yep.
You don't want to do it in vain.
In vain. For the sake of...
For the
saying
sake of making an extra $16. 'Cause let me tell you, if you were to drop down tomorrow because of COVID, your job position would be on Kijiji, Indeed, or whatever the next day, and they'd be looking for a new you. So before you risk your kid's life for a little 16 and up dollars, like, know your
stay
worth.
home and teach your kids.
Teach them something that they'll really stick with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, this is a very complex issue. And what really baffles me the most at this point is the fact that, as the stories have mentioned, we're 7 weeks or 6 weeks out from September 1st, and there's been no
With no foundation.
probable solution for this huge, complex problem. Like, 250,000 kids are in the Toronto District School Board. So what are you doing for those 250,000 little lives?
And you know what it is, though? You know why they're opening up everything else? Because they want people off that curb and them stimulus checks.
Of course.
Yeah.
The government don't want to be paying people to stay home and be watching their kids and not working and all that stuff. They don't want to do that.
They hate it.
They how much in debt are they? 60 billion now, I think, for curb money in
Something crazy
Canada.
like
Something
that.
crazy like that. You think people want to be still paying people to do that?
To do nothing?
To do nothing. What they believe is nothing, which is actually child care.
Childcare. And that was our tax money for the last 37 years. So you can go F yourself, government of Canada.
That's all I gotta say. Figure it out.
Figure it out. Just
Figure it
work
out.
it out. Like,
Figure
we're
it
not
out.
asking you to reinvent the wheel. We're just asking you to reinvent the wheel. That's all. So, you know,
We're not asking you to build us a new house. We're just asking you to strip it down to its foundation and potentially
build a new house.
make something better.
Yeah, we're not asking you to build a bridge. We're just asking you to build a bridge and then get over it and get us our kids into a safe environment back to school. And if you can't build that bridge, then you know what? Then just say so.
What is
Outsource. Call the Chinese. I don't care what you have to do. Like, do something. Like,
call another nation that's
Call
figured
another
this
nation
shit
that's figured
out.
out.
Like,
Just call
stop
somebody,
being
text them, Zoom them.
strong-willed. Stop
Zoom
being
them,
strong-willed
Canada.
and
I've never known Canada to be so lax
narrow-minded.
in their behavior.
I mean,
towards their
hey,
children.
let's not beat it up. We're apparently one of the safest countries.
We're one of the
right now.
safest because we've stayed inside, and our kids need to stay the F inside.
Yeah,
Israel,
but that
we
same
see
energy.
you,
Momentum,
Israel.
yeah.
that momentum,
We see you,
exactly.
Israel. We know what's
Yeah.
up. You know, like
Let's not repeat history. Like,
let's
learn from
not
others' mistakes
learn.
and just
learn.
keep it trucking.
All right. It's hot as hell in here.
It is so hot. We got
We're
the
about
fan
to sign
running.
off and
My
open
neck's
the
sweating.
door.
Goddamn.
My boobs are sweating. Like,
Lord.
I had to share.
Everybody, check on your big boob friends.
Yeah,
It's rough
check on
out
your
here
big
in these
boobie
Toronto
friends.
streets. It's
We're
rough.
sweating. We're sweating.
Woo.
But yeah, thanks guys for having this conversation with me. I know.
Thank you for
I was
having
a-
this conversation.
Yeah,
Even though you
thank
guys don't
you.
have kids, and like,
Yeah, I
because I've
wanted
been getting
to
these
for
emails,
you.
and I just
like,
can't.
You
I
wanted,
just
you had
can't.
something on your heart, and I,
just
felt
can't.
that.
I can't anymore.
I felt that you had something on your heart, so
can't
I thought
anymore.
this was an appropriate topic. It's been in the news a lot in the States and Canada because it's so effing close. Like, September's literally right around the corner. So, like you said, figure it out.
I'd even like to make this one in memory to Auntie Linda because she was a school teacher.
Oh yeah, sorry, Auntie Linda
And,
was
you
a
know,
school teacher. God rest her soul. Rest in peace, Auntie Linda. It's my godmother. I love you so very much, and you will be missed. And this episode is definitely dedicated to you, even with the swear words.
You would have laughed.
You would have laughed. You would have loved it. She would have laughed. She was such a joyous woman. Yeah, but B, let them know if you guys have any questions for Bianca. If you want to, just
Vent
pop off with her, vent with her
man.
about
If you wanna say
motherhood,
all
and,
this
all
foolishness,
this nonsense that's going on.
like these
you
kids,
can talk to me,
these
but I can't
kids.
relate. I'm single and unencumbered.
They
so-
baby's kids at this point.
Yeah.
They baby's
Baby's
kids.
kids.
Yeah, I'm single and unencumbered, so I've got no kids. This really doesn't affect my life one way or the other. But I thought I'd branch out, expand my horizons. You know what I
Well,
mean?
if you guys would like to share your comments and every concern that you have right now that's going on with COVID, especially with this education, with 7 weeks being away for school, you can reach us at dysh@daintydysh.com. That's DYSH at DAINTYDYSH.com. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts,
Give us 5, you deserve 5.
and if you're listening to us on any other streaming services, thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to get a hold of both me and Onika on Instagram, our Instagram is the Dainty Dish. Oh no, Dainty Dish Podcast. Ooh, I put a "the" in there. DAINTYDYSHPODCAST. And if you'd like to get a hold of me personally, my Instagram is thatmuvabad. That's THATMUVABADXO. And if you'd like to get a hold of Onika, hers is.
Best of Onika. That's BESTOFONIKA.
And that's that. I don't think I missed anything.
No, you didn't. You did a good job,
Thanks.
as usual.
You know?
All right. To all our fallen homies, we love you. You'll be missed. Al, did you want to say anything to sign off? Do you want to give your
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
Al.
We always
I always
forget
sorry.
Al's Instagram.
No, it's okay. So if anyone out there needs any audio work done, any producing, I'm always available. My Instagram is its_ELLO. And yeah, reach out, and I'm happy to be on the mic again. This is good.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's always
Always
good
a
to
good
get
time.
your
when Al was
perspective.
on the mic. Al was shy at the beginning.
I had to
you
warm up
were
to
like,
it.
you had to warm
Yeah,
up to it.
it
Now
takes
you're
a
like,
little time,
want to be
but-
on the mic, and I love that.
Yeah,
Because it gives it extra something. It gives it extra something. So
It's
I
a
like
little
it.
extra oomph.
A little oomph. So, all right. I'm just stretching. I've been exercising for the last 13 days, guys. Chloe, take
Nobody about your business.
Yeah.
Show them the after. Don't tell them
to
the
the
before.
We're going to measure me right now after the show.
Had to let them know. Had to let them know.
And that has been the dish of the day.
And I hope y'all have yourselves a very, very, very happy hump day.